Great job again today. Now we're going to switch our brains to swing trading options, right? Okay, everything we're going to talk about is inside the course. So make sure as you're going through the course, if you have any questions, come on, bring it on. That's what this coach is about. Let's get to work. We're going to start off by going through our at the gates. We're going to look for entry signals, and we're going to see if setups are still valid. Now, based on my rules, I already know what's the higher probability and what's the lower probability. I am willing to take low probability flags today. Y'all know I am willing to take low probability flags. Now, the only thing that I'm not willing to do is I will never fight the intermediate trend. Okay, so of this group, for example, BP, this is a bear flag. I'm not going to trade a bear flag on a correlated stock. AMD, bear flag. Not going to trade a bear flag. EWZ is non-correlated, so I will trade a bear flag. But, what do you notice? We made an equal high. Bear flag is a lower high and a lower low. Once you get that equal high, the setup becomes invalidated, so you take it off. Bam. Very mechanical, very repeatable every day. All right, so that's my at the gates. I'm done. So let's go find some trades. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. I posted this yesterday. Okay. There was no intermediate confirmation signals yesterday. Right here. So I'm going to move this off. We know what's the higher probability. So as I go through the watch list, we're looking for bias based on the criteria. What's the setup? Is it a high or low probability? And if it's clean. That's what we do. So if you guys have any stocks to look at, type them in. Because now's the portion where we already did all the rest. Right? We established what was the market doing? What's the high probability trade? What's the low probability? Are we going to do calls? We're going to do spreads, right? What's the posture? Intermediate. We already did that. Now we're on to looking for stocks that match our criteria. If you have any questions, type them in our group, right? Y'all are all here. Andy, Brandon, Jason, Jeff, John, Malik, Mark, Roy. We're in the university. And this is where, got any questions, go for it. All right, let's start off by looking at this watch list. Okay. I'm going to sort. Coinbase is up a little bit. I mean, it was a massive yesterday. So I got my piece of paper. So as you go through your watch list, you're going to be writing down setups on a piece of paper. And then when you're done with that watch list, you're going to put your favorite setups on your at the gates. Once you're completely done going through all of your watch list and putting it on your at the gates, then you focus on looking for entries on your at the gates. Right now, you're searching for setups, not entries. Coinbase, bias up. Beautiful rebound, and I like it. That means Bitcoin. That looked exactly like Bitcoin yesterday. What did Bitcoin do yesterday? Broke to an all-time high. Look at Coinbase. It broke to a high. I don't know if it's all-time high, but it broke to a high. Pull back. Bitcoin was doing that. If Coinbase goes up, this looks almost identical to Bitcoin. Coinbase. Remember that. And with Coinbase, you can trade options, right? Which is good. You can hedge your Bitcoin by trading Coinbase. Just so you know. All right, no setup. EEM, no bias, right? No bias, no trade. EWY, bias down. What's the setup? Well, this is ugly. So this is called ugly setup. No setup. EWZ, we already looked at that. That's got an equal high, but guess what? You're in a red squeeze. So this one is a daily squeeze to the downside. Your stacked moving averages to the downside. Beautiful mid-compression squeeze. Bias down, squeeze. So then if you trade squeezes, you write that down on a piece of paper. And then when we're done going for the watch list, you transfer them to your at the gates. This is how you can be more effective with your setups. And a lot of people trade the squeeze, right? So this is how you can be more effective. You build your watch list of squeeze, understand if it's a high probability trade or a low probability trade today. Hint, hint, it's a low probability trade today, but not this one. This one is non-correlated, so it's high probability. FCX buys down, black squeeze. Okay. FCX buys down, black squeeze. What's the difference between a black squeeze and a red squeeze? It's just, you know, one of them's classified as a low compression. The other one's a high compression. There's still a squeeze. Okay, it's just the level of, like, I guess, tightness, right? That's why the orange squeeze, that high compression. Okay, low, I might have said high a minute ago. The red is the mid. Low, mid, high. High means it's at its quietest, right? That volatility is contracting, contracting, contracting. Bam! Explosion. Black squeeze. No bias. No bias. Gold. Well, we already looking at gold right now. No setup. Manage the trade according to your plan if you're in it. Real estate, no bias. Silver, no bias. Semiconductors, black squeeze and a breakout bias up. So semiconductors, SMH, bias up, breakout, and black squeeze. Okay. Semiconductors. It's a beautiful breakout setup going on. Again, black squeeze way out of the zone, but, you know, just be patient, right? When it pulls back into your zone, like right here, right? That would have been an entry right there. So I'm going to talk about something really quickly.
Hey, Jeff, can I interrupt for a second?
As long as I don't, yes, hopefully I don't forget this thought.
Yeah, I just want to know, when you say you're going to come back in the afternoon, are you going to be on here in the afternoon?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna just trade in the afternoon.
Okay.
All right. No problem, brother. I want to get this out because it's important, guys. So the squeeze. So those of you trade the squeeze, you get faked out, right? Squeeze, fake me out. Squeeze my money. Here is an example of how most people trading the squeeze got faked out. I'm going to tell you right now, and why you wouldn't get faked out if you were following these guidelines. Number one, this was a beautiful trend to the upside. Check. Stacked moving averages, right? Beautiful squeeze, right? Stacked moving averages. He even says it. Bullish stack. Bias up. That's another reason why is they don't know what's going on in the higher time frames. Okay, they're all messed up. Right here, look at this candle. So for anybody who's just trading the squeeze based on the way that John Carter and everybody out there is teaching it, you're going to hear the concept called the buy zone. And that's even how I was doing it early in the days. Okay, which you buy when it's in the buy zone. Well, here you go. You bought in the buy zone. Your stop loss is below the 34. What happened? It went down, stopped you out. Everybody following that set of rules got stopped out because your stop is below the 34. Soon as you got stopped out, bam, how you feeling? That's that fake out that everybody hates so much. Well, if you follow our trading plan rules, you would have entered right there. Right there. You can see it. There was an entry right there. You would have not got faked out. And if you would have entered back in here, you would not have got faked. You would not have stopped out. The bottom line is you would not have got faked out. But that's for another discussion. Make sure you go watch the videos to go over that. Breakout. But as far as Mark, nah, man, I mean, I'm going to trade the ES in the afternoon. I'm going to post the VIX levels, but no, I'm not going to go on live. But everybody's got the same set of rules. So TLT bias down. Look at this one. This one is... God, it is... So this is a bear flag. But honestly, I don't really like all these gaps. I'm sorry. This, to me, was a picture-perfect bear flag. Y'all see it? This, I ain't messing with that. No setup for me. Dollar bias up, same thing. Look at this gap down. just not a fan of that, to be honest with you. It is a valid flag, but I've seen too many times, man, that these things act as resistance. I'm going to pass. Energy bias up, breakout setup. Bullish breakout setup, energy. Oil is no bias, so guess what? Oil and energy right now, they're not on the same page. And since they're not on the same page, that information tells me I'm not going to go look at my top 10 energy stocks, like ExxonMobil, 𝗕𝗢𝘁𝗂𝗿𝗀. Like, I'm not going to do it because I need those two to be in lockstep. That's a very important criteria. Andy learned that the hard way some time back. Right? We don't trade the energy stocks when when oil and energy sector are not in line. All right, so that's that watch list. So this is where now you would take what you wrote down and you would put them in your at the gates. Me, I'm looking for flags, bull flags and bear flags. So I'm not going to put anything in the at the gates because there is none. All right. So now let's go look at let's pull out our scans, right? Here's a scan, courtesy of Andy. Here's a scan, and then that. So let's go look at these three watch lists. All right, we got some stuff to go look at. So now let's go through them here. So this one is, I never heard this before. Oh, okay. Whoa. So this is running through every optionable stock, right? So it doesn't mean that you'll trade it, but we look for it. Like right here, SDOW, Pro Shares, Ultra Pro Short Dow. I'm not trading that. No. I only trade ETFs that are in my non-correlated. But that shit shot up 55 million points. Pass. Another Pro Shares. Oh yeah, there you go. One of them's an Ultra Pro, and one of them is a Pro Short. Want no part of that. None. Okay, cool. But it did its job. It delivered what it was supposed to deliver. Look at this. Ooh, Abbott. Abbott squeeze. So Abbott is a bias up squeeze. But I do want to take a closer look at that. So number one, here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a high, a low, a high. So this is interesting. We have a higher high and a higher low. Okay. So in reality, this is a bull flag, but come on. Number one, it's not clean anymore. It's not clean. It's not clean. So even though it's a valid flag, because it's not clean, I want no part of it. Remember, what's the bias up? What's the setup flag? Is it clean? Heck no. Pass. But let's go look at PM. PM might be something. Philip Morris. Okay. Philip Morris. What's the bias? Up. Right? Based on all the information, the monthly traders, the weekly traders, exactly what we teach. Up. You got to do that first. I can guarantee you that every single one of y'all in this room, none of y'all did it the way we're doing it prior to this. Nobody. There's no way. Nobody. This is bias up. What's the setup? No setup. No setup. Oh, but you're getting an entry signal. No, it doesn't matter. Entry signal doesn't mean nothing. You can't take an entry signal on a stock that's not in your at the gates. Let me repeat. You cannot take an entry signal on a stock. So even though there's an entry signal, it's not a valid setup. So it's not on my at the gates, which means I am not going to trade it. Now, if this was a valid setup, you would put it in your at the gates. And then when you were done going through everything, then you would look for an entry. This is not a valid setup. Any questions on that? Okay. Now, What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to my bias down just because I like to load my at the gates with both bullish and bearish because the posture can change like that. So let's go look at some scans over here. Now we're going to look for our bias down. We're going to look for our bear flags. And we're going to look for our bias down here. Every day, we do exactly the same thing. There we go. All right, what's popping up on that list? 1, Ford. So, do we know Ford? What's the bias on Ford? Yeah, I already know the bias because of the stickers. This is why we utilize these stickers. They help tell the real story. You getting faked out in your squeeze? You probably don't have a clue what's going on in the higher time frame. These stickers will solve that bitch. This is bias down. What's the next thing we do? We look for a setup. Yeah, those stickers, I can't even imagine how much time having that saves me every day. Honestly, it's well over an hour plus every day. And it's not just that. It makes it to where you don't have to stare at the screen. It's so easy. So easy. Now, here's my question. What's the setup? We don't know. We need to click on it. All right. Bias down. Somebody tell me in our chat. What is the setup on Ford? We'll play a little game of Jeopardy while we're waiting to see how good y'all are. So this is Ford. We're bias down. What's the setup? All right, this is how we all get better. Okay, in a couple seconds, we'll answer it. We're just seeing what you guys come up with. Okay? So, the answer is it a bear flag? I guess technically it is, right? I mean, in reality, if you look at it, it is. But we're back above the 34. That's not clean. So the setup is a bear flag, but a not clean bear flag. You're back above that. It's ugly. So what do? Can you take an entry? No. Why can't you take an entry? Because it's not on your at the gates. Why is it not on your at the gates? Because it's ugly. Period. All right. That's it with those. That's 6. Yeah, good quiz. That's why I'm going to point it out. So you are right. This is a valid bear flag. It's just not clean. No clean, no at the gates. All right. So what I like to do right now is I'm going to put this other scan back on. I'm going to close it down for a minute. Okay, put it back on, close it down for a minute, and then we're going to go to our next line of attack. Oh, God, this is so boring. Well, I hate to break this shit to you, but good trading is boring. If you're having so much fun, you're probably over trading, which means you're losing. My mentor would make millions and millions of dollars. And that's one of the things that he stressed constantly. After 50 years, 50, I'm not even 50 years old. He's been trading 50 years. Good trading is boring because you're a mechanical robot. Y'all come in this room every single day. There's not one of you can say, I don't do the same thing every day. That's how you get good. You're very consistent. Same with my day trading. I don't do anything different. That's why I win. It's the same with this. You want to be a consistently profitable trader. Have yourself a clean set of rules and discipline yourself every day to follow them. And I'll make damn sure you come into this room, you guys know I'll teach you my rules. Not a doubt. I consider myself probably one of the best teachers fucking in the world. And I'm telling you that right now. That's why I built the biggest life insurance office in the history of a company, a big company, because I can teach. Once I got something down, which these are my rules, I've been doing it for like 17 years, I'll teach it. We've made some additions. Again, that's my soapbox. All right, let's go to the next one. I'll teach it better than anybody on YouTube. There ain't not one fucking person on YouTube that can teach as good as me. I can guarantee you that. Not one. You won't find one. I'm not saying they don't trade. They might trade better than me. But trading is just a look at all these fucking stocks. Trading is just a process of, being good at your rules. They might have better rules than me, but my rules work for me. Here we go. We're going to go through about 50 million stocks right now. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to trade only those that are biased up, and we're going to look for setups. Here we go. Alcoa, no setup. So I'm going to kind of move, right? We had that squeeze. It fired to the upside. Right now, no setup. So I'm just going to tell you, okay, I'm not even going to tell you to bias. They're all bias up. I'm just going to look at it. I'm going to tell you what the setup is. If the setup meets your criteria, you write it down on a sheet of paper. And if you have a question, appreciate it, brother. If you have a question, I'm going to go kind of fast. What I want you to do is write down the symbol and your question. So like, for example, if you got a symbol, if you got a question here, and I might be 5 stocks already down the list, it's your responsibility. Okay, I'm not going to baby. Your responsibility to say, oh, Apple, why this? Or whatever your question is. So I'm going to go because we got lots of stocks. Alcoa, no setup. Okay, this one right here, American Airlines, breakout setup. You already know what the high probability today is. I'm only going to post in the group today high probability setups, except bull flags. I'll post those. Abbott, squeeze. We already talked about that, right? I think we already went over that one, yeah. AIG, squeeze, right? Squeeze. Beautiful mid-compression squeeze. Amazon, rocket ship, AKA no setup. Squeeze right down in this area. Bam, fired, gone. Bank of America, no setup. Actually, green to black. Bank of America is a bias up, green to black setup. It is. If you don't trade green to black, you don't care. Only write down the setups that you trade. Bristol Myers Squibb. Good one. What's the setup? Well, this is interesting. Here's a low. Here's a high. Had a little pause here. This is a bull flag. I don't really like this is, that's what I'm looking for. But we have one pause. And then we kind of, this is a bull flag. It is what it is. BMY, bias up, bull flag. If you don't think it's clean, you don't put it on your at the gates. To me, it could be a little better, but it's still okay. BTU, no setup. Citigroup, no setup. It was in that squeeze right in the zone. You had that entry, which again, might have faked people out because it broke to 34. Once again, they got faked out. They hate the squeeze. Carnival. A lot of these are giving that harami right now. Again, pausing after big update yesterday. No setup. Breakout setup. Right? CMCSA. CMCSA, bias up, breakout. All right. Coinbase, we already looked at Coinbase. Delta Airlines. Again, a lot of these gapped up. Right now, they're giving haramis. Bearish haramis, by the way. So no setup. DoorDash. Boom, broke out yesterday. Beautiful breakout. Nice kick up in volume. Following through today. No setup. We're going to skip. FDX. Oh, shit. Black squeeze. FDX. Bias up. Black squeeze. Actually, yeah, it broke out yesterday. Did y'all see that? Broke out yesterday following through. Right? Now, squeeze. Right? Is it a high or low probability? Well, you should know that. I'm only going to post high probability setups today in a group. That's important. I'm telling you every day when I go through my watch list and I go through my scans, I'm telling you in the group, this is the high probability setup. It's up to you what you do with that information. Gold, we already looked at gold. GM, beautiful. Broke out, following through, no setup. Google, what a beautiful breakout setup. Squeeze fired the other day. Google is a breakout setup. JP Morgan, bearish harami, might pull back, wait for the flag. LUV, squeeze, right? Southwest Airlines, squeeze. A little bit more, we'll go into that breakout setup, but right now I'm just going to classify it as a squeeze. Las Vegas Sands, another beautiful squeeze. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. It's not a flag. It's coming off a lower low. Facebook, no bias. MS, no setup. MU, breakout. Breakout setup going on Micron Technology, baby. Norwegian Cruise, broke out, pause. Oracle, broke out, going up. Squeeze fired to the upside. You can see right here, no setup. Palantir, nothing. Philip Morris, I think we already looked at that. Yeah, no setup. Royal Caribbean. A lot of these look the same. Do y'all notice how a lot of them gapped up and you're getting that little harami? That picture is what we've been seeing a lot today. A lot. They're pausing. From there, it's either going to resume the trend or it's going to pull back into a flag. We don't know. We don't care. We trade what is. Riot. Bitcoin. Look at that. Tell me Riot don't look just like, okay, you see Riot? Remember Riot. Look at Coinbase. Those two look pretty damn close. Starbucks. Squeeze. Beautiful. Now, it says the moving averages aren't stacked, but they are stacked. I don't know why it says that shit. They are stacked. Oh, it's because the stack, this code also takes in consideration this 50 simple moving average. And if 50 is above the 34 exponential, so it says not stacked, but I like it as far as the squeeze setup. AT&T. Oh, bam. I don't even know. You never know if it's like a real call anymore. That's what's crazy. Black squeeze, right? That's it. Low compression squeeze. You know, gets up a little bit higher. I'll put a breakout setup. TMUS, breakout, baby. T-Mobile. T-Mobile, breakout setup. All right, nice. Tesla, rocket ship. Twilio, rocket ship. Rocket ship means no setup. UAL, gotta give that. A lot of those airlines gapped up, pause. X, look at that, gap up, pause. So there we go. So what's crazy is going through that, I have BMY, right? BMY. Now this is where you go to your list and you put all of your setups that you're willing to trade in your at the gates, all your squeezes, all your breakouts, all your flags. And now, like this, pull these watch lists back up. And what do you do right now? You wait. You wait. That's it. Right? So, what questions do y'all have? So what I'm going to do here really quickly is we'll cut this live. We'll cut the live. So that's what you do. From here, we're going to answer questions. All right? If you have any questions related to the course, you type them in. All right? Any questions. If you want to talk about whatever, it's all good. Type them in. We'll go through it. If you're a channel member and you want to join us, okay, or you want to get the course so you can actually learn how to fucking make money consistently and stop getting faked out trading that damn squeeze, in the description of the video. Let me stop the live and y'all hang tight.